Yo, this is dropshipping day 47, I want to say. Might be wrong, but yeah, got a bunch of work done today. You guys know the deal, right? I'm always saying that in every single video, but yeah, got a bunch of work done today. I'm feeling a lot better. Been feeling like crap the past 2 days. Yesterday, I kind of went away and then I came back like a lot harder last night, but feeling a lot better now. Um, you know, just getting my stuff done. And yeah, I'm still waiting on a couple of things from a couple people on. I'm still dealing with my taxes from last year, which is kind of like a pain in the ass, and I'm trying to pay them, and the tax guy's literally just been taking forever, and so it's kind of like a pain in the ass. It's been bothering me for literally like weeks. Like I want to get this on my plate. I don't want to worry about this stuff, and so yeah, I think that's coming to an end. So that's kind of nice that all that's going to be sorted out and I can finally just pay it and have it off of my plate. And I made some mistakes that I will definitely remember that cost me a bunch or that are going to cost me a bunch. And I'm not going to make those mistakes this year or the years in the future. So I haven't really said much about that, but it's kind of like a relief being able to finally almost get that off my plate. Because if you guys don't know, it's literally August, and what is that? We've had like 5-6 months, so it's been a little bit frustrating, and like I want to get it off my plate because I don't like having like any debt over my head or anything like that. So like I want to get it off my plate. But anyway, that's kind of like a side tangent kind of thing. But yeah, got a bunch of work done today. I just finished scripting a bunch videos, and yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff that I gotta do, I think, this week in regards to like training people up across everything, because I think it's like an area where I kind of lack and I leave stuff out because I don't have like full systems built out to my liking, because it's not all like entirely new to me, but I haven't done that way in the past. But like I'm starting to realize it's really important to have literally everything like systemized and built out. But the issue is it gets a little bit frustrating. It's like you tell people these things multiple times and they don't do it, and you give them the exact directions, the exact structure, framework, etc., and they don't execute on it. And sometimes you get stuck in the boat with like these people that ideally should just be off your team, like off entirely fired. But sometimes like you can't because you need them, and you don't need them, but you don't have the time to look for other people and find new hires and stuff like that. And I think that's something where I think it comes back to like, you say yes to everything that you do in the beginning, but as you gain more opportunities to get more successful, I think like you have to say no to things more than you say yes to things. Like at first, everyone says yes to everything when you're starting out with anything, because the more you say yes to, obviously the more money in your pocket, the faster you can grow. But once money kind of like doesn't become a issue, I mean it's always like an issue, but when it's not like you're like that, you don't have like $0 in your bank account anymore, you can start to say no and be more selective, because now you're trying to maximize your time instead of maximizing just your wallet, which is what you normally do in the beginning. And so like I've been in like that mindset of like just literally just saying yes to everything, and it's kind of limited me with how much time I have. And then so it gets me stuck with people that I don't want to necessarily work with because they're not the right fit. And then it's just like this period of like, I need to find this window of time that I can get them off, but also find somebody else to transition into, train up, and do the entire process again. And that process kind of like drains me a lot of the time. And it's very, very frustrating dealing with people multiple times over and over on things that you tell them to do and they don't execute on things that you tell them to do, or the exact directions that you give them and they don't execute on those exact directions that you give them. And so yeah, that's just like, it's also kind of like another tangent, but yeah, I've been dealing with that recently, and it's kind of frustrating. But I think I need to be like less emotional when I kind of like make those decisions, and think solely for the business. And um, you're ultimately just chasing money, but also creating like a solid brand and community around it. And I think that if you let decisions like that get in the way, you're just essentially holding back everyone else on your team, in your business, and preventing yourself from going even further. So I think I need to switch that up, which I have been. And a couple more of those this week that I'll figure out and get those underway, so they're kind of like off my plate. And then yeah, so like that's what's been going on that side of things. And then another thing I wanted to talk about is like I think I'm talking about it before, but like becoming the person that you need to become in order to receive these bigger achievements and these bigger roles, whatever it is. Maybe it's in a company level and you're like a $1 million a year CEO or founder, and you want to get to 10 million. That requires a entirely different person and skill set and just attitude towards the business, and you're focused on different things. And if you're not ready to take that on, you won't get to that level. And you need to become that person before you even get to that level, because otherwise you won't be able to handle it at that level. And I think, I've been thinking about it. I don't think about it too much because I feel like I've kind of actively been pushing towards becoming a different person, essentially. Not like that, but you guys know what I mean, like just changing for the better. But I think as of recently, I fell in like a pretty bad rut. And I just noticed that like I haven't really been becoming a better person, more just like stagnant. And so yeah, working on that. And just what I mean by working on that is like I need to have a better, more positive attitude towards things, and just take care of things immediately, because there's some things that I do push off. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna be fully transparent with you guys, that I do push off, and it comes back to bite me in the butt. And then another thing is, I was just watching Greg Lav's video, and he was talking about like how in business, things that you do today aren't going to be seen or reflected upon tomorrow. They're going to be 6 to 12 months down the line. And that goes both ways. So like your inputs right now, negative or positive, will not be seen tomorrow, but they'll be seen in a year from now. And so like I think that's something that I kind of realized, especially like with my landscape business the past few weeks, is like I put in so much work, especially in the beginning, like a ton of work, like crazy hours, like 18-hour days, literally just on getting this thing like off the ground, especially in the springtime, because I always get worried of like, am I gonna have work? But usually I'm totally fine. But thank God for that. But I don't get worried about it as much anymore. But like, it still worries me a little bit. But like, I'm blessed to be able to not have to really worry about that, because the work is gonna be there as long as I put in the effort. But like, one of the things that I want to touch on is like, I put in all this effort and this crazy amount of input, and it's like a big, strong like wall, right? And then once the season hits, like the armies and the groups of men or whatever it may be, they come to this wall, and they start to beat down on it. Like think of like an old war scene or something like that. They start to beat down and break this barrier down. This is like, I'm just thinking of like I guess like one of those like old movies or something like that, with like in like England or whatever, they have this like barrack up trying to get to the castle, kind of like that thing. And that's like, I don't know why I'm even thinking of that, but that's just what I'm thinking of. And so you have like this wall, and like that's me in the beginning of the season. I built up this momentum and this extravagant like pace, right? And then once the work starts to hit, and throughout the season, like mentally and physically, I just get absolutely beat down, and this wall starts to crumble and crumble and crumble and crumble, and it literally just like beats away to nothing. And now it's not a strong business. And what I mean by that is like I was watching his video before, and he talks about like your inputs today matter. And I think I've honestly, like, from the beginning of the season, if you look at it like on a chart of like inputs, my my inputs and my force at which I was doing things was much higher at the beginning of the season, and then it slowly started to decline because I let things get into me mentally and physically, and things that frustrate me in the business start to beat me down. Because at the end of the day, landscape is not my passion, so like I think that's why it's done that. So it's like a little realization that I kind of just thought about, and I wanted to share with you guys because like I think that's one that a lot of people would benefit from, of just like knowing about it and hearing about it. So like go watch that video. But where was I going with this? Because I was looking like a tangent. But anyway, yeah, like your inputs, they're delayed, and I think I've realized that just a little bit. Like, and sometimes I kind of lack purpose, I guess you could say. Like every single day, I'm like, what am I doing this for? What am I doing XYZ for? And then I think about it, and especially today, I really thought about this, and I've been thinking about it, is like, your inputs don't show today, but they show 6, 12 months or however long down the road. And so essentially, a lot of the time too, like with your business, if you really think about it, with your businesses, you aren't really doing stuff like for today. Like obviously you're putting out smaller tasks like busy work day to day, right? But for the most part, like your like big movers in your business are things that you're doing today, but they're not going to, directly impact the business until 6, 12, 10 months, whatever, however long, months down the line, basically is what I'm trying to get at. And so like, I think sometimes I lack that when I wake up in the morning. I have like nothing, not nothing, but nothing to really drive towards. And I think that's something I have to start thinking about more, is like, everything I'm doing, it's not for today, it's not for tomorrow, it's for months down the line. So put in full force, because that will reflect how your business does in a year from now. And so when I do, half-ass effort or not full force effort, it's going to correlate a year down the line, and it's going to reflect on that P&L or whatever it may be in whatever aspect of the business that I'm doing. And so, yeah, I just want to leave that with you guys, because I thought that was really interesting. And I think it's something to really think about and just carry with you every single day. And like, I don't tell you guys these things just to like blurt them out at you, but literally to like stack these beliefs and these mindsets in your mind, and these little tips and tricks, so that you guys are, stronger and can push towards your goals a lot faster than other people will, because they'll get beat down by small things. And if you can keep that mindset of like, you're doing things for the future, further down the line, you're planting the seed for today, or planting the seed for the future. And don't quote me on this, because it's like, these aren't my exact words. These are just, I'm going off of the the video, but and I'm not trying to like copy him direct word for word, but I'm just using the examples that he gave me. Anyway, yeah, like it's like planting a seed, and you don't see those benefits, you don't see the actual tree until a year down the line. You're not planting trees today, because otherwise you would see the results today, but you don't. So you have to plant them for now, 6, 12 months down the line. And I kind of talk about that. I've told a couple of my friends about that too, like some of my close friends, of like, they ask me like sometimes like, oh, like how do you meet certain people, or how do you have conversation with them? And literally like my advice for that is just like, start a conversation with them, and it doesn't have to be much. Just introduce yourself, say what's up, whatever it may be, and it's like planting a seed, because right now you might not get, and I'm not saying it like this either, don't take this the wrong way, but like you might not get anything out of this today. And I'm not saying that like your relationship should be like that, but like if you're trying to network with somebody, 95% of the time it's like you're trying to learn something from them, or learn something from them, gain knowledge that they have, or help them in a certain way for like a mutual benefit of each other. And I tell them sometimes like, it's literally like planting a seed. You say what's up, you say how are you, talk to them a little bit, get to know them. You might not talk to them for 6, 12 months, however long, but now you're in their mind, you're in their memory, and you have a recollection of who they are, and then you can use that. And it's like that whole time it was just growing into a plant, into a tree. And then, you know, a year or two later, you hit them up and you're like, oh, I need help with this. Like, it might be somebody in, you know, real estate, it might be somebody in e-commerce, it might be somebody in formulations of products or manufacturing, supply chain, whatever it is. You then have these connects, and it's like planting a seed because you already talked to them and you already made that like initial contact, and you have like rapport built up, because it's not like you're just like hitting them up for literally just that. Like you built up like a relationship or friendship, and you guys are normally like friends before you actually get into business together. So like, yeah, like kind of like the same logic, I guess you could say, with your inputs is like you're planting seeds. You're planting seeds everywhere, so don't expect direct benefits and results right up front, because that's not the way it works, especially in the game of business as you get older. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video off there. It's at like 16 minutes already, and it's late. I think it's like 3:30 in the morning, so I gotta go to sleep. I literally gotta fix the sleep schedule. It's so bad. Like, I just come back to it all the freaking time, but I low-key hate it. But yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.